So Ronaldo, we are seeing a bunch of questions from our friends, from clients regarding solar.
Yes.
There's obviously been a big influx of door-to-door salesmen going trying to sell people solar.
Got 5 this week.
Right. And we have, I don't want to say varying opinions for it. I like to talk more about the average home buyer in Lethbridge, and you are all in on solar.
I like the idea of solar. Maybe not for the reasons people think so, but I like the idea of having solar.
Okay, well, let me preface this
Sure.
by saying all of these opinions, because I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. I am talking about the average home buyer in Lethbridge. So that's houses, that $300,000 to $400,000 range. They're moving every 5 to 10 years. We're not talking about one extreme or the other.
Yeah.
For me, I'm talking about your average home buyer.
Yeah, I think that's a good consideration, right? That is always, when I'm talking to my clients, I always try to understand the reasoning behind, right? Even for remodeling the house, right? I'm gonna create another bedroom here. For what? I'm not gonna get 20K extra. So if you're spending 20K, let's not do it, right? So we always balance things off. And I think with solar would be the same. Like, I like the idea. I see the environmental impact. I see how good it could be on the long run and a bunch of other things. But if you're focused on an average buyer, then we need to be careful.
The juice isn't worth the squeeze. Yeah. You're gonna put $30,000 worth of solar on top of your house. And best case scenario in the Lethbridge market, you're gonna see $30,000 in return. However, I have yet to find a comparable where a house with solar has sold for more money, even if it's the same as the investment in the solar system. So the demographic in Lethbridge does not see solar adding value to a house.
Yes. I'm probably gonna put solar on my house next spring. So the math that I'm doing is, okay, I'm paying somebody else, let's say $400 in utilities, right? Let's say in electrical bills, let's say $300. Now I'm gonna just change hands, right? I'll keep paying maybe the $300 for a little bit of electricity plus whatever I have to pay for the installation. Eventually that will balance us off. But now I have a freedom to go all in electrical in my home. So right now I have a gas furnace. I'll change to electrical. Now I can put an electrical vehicle in my home, and I don't really care about charging that anymore. I can put a hot tub outside, and I really don't care anymore. So for me, makes sense as homeowner, like home ownership and taking care of my home in the long run. Does that bring more value when I'm gonna sell? I don't think so as well. I know it's a bit sweet, but I don't think I will increase my home value just because I have solar.
You're also, if you're adding an electrical furnace, EV, so what they're doing when they judge the size of your system is they look at your utilities for the last however long they go back.
12 months.
To see the usage for the past 12 months. So if you're in your head thinking, okay, bring in solar, if that's $20,000, we'll say, and then you tell them, well, actually, I'm gonna change my range over to electric, I'm gonna change my vehicle over to electric, and I'm gonna change my furnace over to electric, well, your usage just went up.
Yes.
So the system is now bigger. So now your $20,000 system just went to 30 or 35,000. And I'm hearing from people with solar, it's anywhere from 5 to 8 years to pay that off, depending on utility prices and the cost of the system.
Yeah, so that's it. So let's say I'm not gonna go all in, right? I'm just gonna put solar. So in my case, it would be around 18K after rebate. So a little bit over that, then I get 5K rebate, then my bill is gonna be about 18 for installation, right? If I decide to sell the house in the next year, I don't see any value. If I wait 2, 3, 4, 7 years, yeah, then I'm seeing a huge payback, because I'm gonna be break even on the solar panels. I'm gonna be paying less electricity bill, but knowing myself, I'll move out in 10 years or less. So one of the things that I talk to my clients when they're thinking about it, I say, how long you think you're gonna stay in this house? And for my clients, most of them, maybe they're fooling themselves, I don't know, but they think they're gonna stay at least 15 years. So if that's the case, I think it's a great investment. You know what I mean?
At 15 years, it's a great investment. At 10 years, it's a good investment. But for your average person that moves for every 5 to 10 years, for the investment of solar, and you're saying it's $23,000 for your system, and you live in a, what is this, 1,200 square foot, 2-story, you, your wife, and your daughter, right? So let's think $25,000 to $30,000 on a 7-year turnaround. $25,000, you can redo a kitchen, you can redo 2 bathrooms, you can do new flooring, you can do a lot of things to your house that would pay that dividend back, that investment back higher, like, so more percentage back a lot quicker.
Yeah. So let's say even the 18, right? So I'll have the 5,000 rebate. So let's say even the 18. So if I really stay here, let's say, for me, realistic, 3 or 4 years. I don't think I'm going to stay longer in this house specifically. So let's say 3 years. So now I still have a loan, and you had a problem with this, right? Like
I did have a problem with
trying to sell something with a loan. But other than that, so let's say I'm not breaking even yet, right? So it was good enough for me because I'm paying probably a little bit less, not much, but a little bit less in electricity, right? But my problem now is, what do I do with the loan that I have there?
So when you get the loan for the panels, they're going to put a lien on your house because the finance company wants to get paid when the house sells. And this is a problem that I had, is my buyers went to purchase a home with solar on it. The panels weren't paid off. There was, $8,000 or $10,000 left. So there was a lien on the house, on title. The finance company, the bank, did not want to transfer funds until that lien was gone. Now we tried to work around that by saying, the lawyers would hold back the $8,000 or whatever it was to pay off the panels, and it was a few $1,000s. It was in that 8 range. So the lawyers would hold that back, and as soon as the funds transferred, it would just get paid, right? We tried, the seller's lawyer would do it, we tried, our lawyer would do it. Finance company would not release funds until that was gone. Now the homeowner didn't have $8,000 to pay off that lien. Right? So
they could use the proceeds of the sale to pay.
No,
right? But the bank didn't allow it.
The bank didn't allow it. We had to get creative as realtors to make that happen, but that's something to consider. If you put solar on your house, it's a $25,000 or $20,000 system. In 5 years, you go to sell your house and there's $8,000 left. You may have to have $8,000 in your account to pay that off, to pay that lien off, to get it to go.
Then comes line of credit. Now the interest is kicking in, so you got to be ready.
And that's all the time that you don't want to pull $8,000 out of your line of credit, because now it affects your financing, right? So it's just things to be aware of.
So if we're going to choose solar, time that you think you're going to stay in the house matters. I think that's, to me, that's the thing that I would take in consideration. Like in my case, I don't really think I'll stay here. That's why I'm postponing a little bit. So if I figure out that I'm going to stay at least 10 years here, then I'll go solar. If I figure out that I'm going to go sell this house in 3 or 4 years, I'm not going to invest. Why? My house is finished, the basement is finished, everything's finished. So there's no improvements that I can do to the house. But if I had to spend $18K now to help me sell the house, now I'm doing painting, maybe new floor, and I could finish another bedroom in the basement, right? So probably gonna be below 18, and will bring huge value to sell the house, right? So that's what I balance with my clients. Every time that somebody asks me, is it a good idea? I said, well, What is your goal? Oh, the house is gonna increase value. I don't think so. And I know you got a little bit of hate on internet this week because of that.
Let's preface this with Lethbridge, right? Lethbridge isn't Vancouver, it isn't Calgary, it isn't Edmonton, it isn't Toronto.
It's here.
In Lethbridge, our market, despite what the salesman tells you, solar will not increase the value of your house. I would love it to. I want all of our houses to be worth $1 million, right? Solar, the stats say, the information says, solar will not increase the value of your house.
And I have been dealing with clients in the past 2 years. We have seen some houses that they have solar. The general response, and people all across the board, from BC, from Ontario, from Lethbridge, moving here, I don't care much.
They like it. They like the idea of solar.
It's like, the good example that we have is like...
a new furnace.
A new furnace. That is the best example. Okay, it's good to have a new furnace, low maintenance and things like that. You're not gonna buy the house just because of that.
Right.
It's a nice feature, you know what I mean? Like, and that might complicate things when you're doing the deal if the loan is there. So you gotta be careful with that. Maybe you have the money to pay off, maybe you have another lender, but that's the situation. So if you are going solar, first, do a little bit of research on the company. There's tons of companies right now doing that because I've seen a huge variation as well. The same house we got quote for 18 and 33. Like that's a huge gap.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there must be.
There are local companies in Lethbridge
Yeah.
that do solar installations and
Exactly.
systems. The other thing to keep in mind and to consideration is the cost of replacing your roof. Those panels go on your roof when it comes time to have to replace that, because how many of these door-to-door guys are taking your roof's age into consideration, right? So when the time comes that you need a new roof, you have to have those panels uninstalled, all of the mounting hardware uninstalled because it gets mounted on top of the shingles.
Yes.
All that hardware has to come off, the new roof gets put on, and then everything is reinstalled. Right now, there's not a roofing company in town that I'm aware of that deals with that. If there is one and they're seeing this, send us a message so that we can refer clients to you. But so now you're hiring an electrician, and more than likely it's an electrician and an apprentice, probably at $100 an hour per person. So $200 an hour. It's going to take them 8 hours to remove a system, and then probably another 8 hours to put on it. There's another $3,200. That could be, upwards of 50% of the cost of the new roof.
Yeah. So my house is almost 3 years old. So if I'm gonna put next year, I don't need to replace before.
Right.
But one of the clients that I was talking to, his house is 15 years something, and the shingles, they're okay, but we see the life is going away. So they need to replace the shingles before putting the installation. That would be the smart move, right? Another 6K there.
Right.
So if they are staying 15 years, it's worth the try. But if not, just be careful. Like what we're trying to say is, go for it if you really like the idea, things gonna work for you, not because it's gonna work for resale.
Resale, yeah. And if you're staying in the house more than 10 years, I think it's a great investment, right? Yeah. Everybody likes to think that they're staying for more than 10 years and then things happen.
Yeah.
I think this is why we're seeing them on some of the newer communities, such as, you look at the crossings and there's solar on all those houses, and you come over to my neighborhood and they're few and far between.
Yeah.
So it's something to consider. Done being the Debbie Downer here, I will give a perk. There are some great incentives to buying solar right now, such as a $5,000 government rebate. And I believe they're offering 0% financing loans for up to 10 years.
10 years. Yeah.
So, there's some great initiatives if solar is what you want to do.
That's the time to go, because those incentives will eventually stop.
Right.
Right.
And there's lots of designs.
Lots of designs too.
Front of the house, solar panels. Yeah. You don't just need great big ugly panels on the top of your house. You can now build them into into the front of the house. And there's a great example of that in the crossings. There's a house that's got it built in.
And you can also opt in to have an extra battery, right? So that adds to the cost.
Right.
But if you are doing, why not go with the battery and now you have another week when the sun is not showing up much. At least you are banking, you're auto-sufficient a little bit, right?
And if you are unsure, if the guy is knocking on your door trying to sell you an array and you're unsure if it will actually bring value to your house, just give us a call. We're happy to talk to you about it.
Yep.
We're not gonna, harass you for the
No.
next 3 months. We'll give you our opinion, we'll show you the data, and you can make your own informed decision.